Welcome to World of Tanks with Trapsikis. Golddigger uploaded this replay saying that he was accused of using an aimbot, so I decided to investigate to see whether I could see any evidence of an aimbot being used. So typically there's two aspects of an aimbot. Firstly, when a target is moving, it would automatically lead the target, and the lead would adjust according to the speed of the target. So that's a rather easy one to spot. The other aspect obviously is aiming for weak spots. Now that's rather more difficult one to spot. Interesting driving here by our target Golddigger and the Panzer III-E there. So what happens with weak spot aimbots is that the cursor would move to weak spots on the targets without the mouse reticle, the circle, red circle right in the middle, moving at all. So obviously there was a gap between the cursor and the actual aim there. So that is something a little bit suspicious. I would like to rewind to show you that again. So while they were shooting at the enemy there, sorry, we were just reloading there. You'll notice, if you let me pause there, there's a gap between the circle in the middle and the point where the gun is aiming. So I'm not sure this is evidence of an aimbot, but feel free to leave me a comment to educate me or give me your opinion at least. So you'll see, again, the mouse reticle in the middle of the screen is pointed right at the middle of the medium 3. And yet the gun reticle is quite a bit to the right. Now, is that an extremely slow turret rotation, or is that something else at work? I don't know. Right, I'm going to speed it up a little bit. Now again, you'll see he's shooting at the M3G FT over there. Personally, it looks like the gun reticle is following the mouse reticle, so I don't see any foul play here at all. But that first target was a bit suspicious to me. Medium 3. Right, I'm speeding it up a bit. Now there's a Valentine. Now this is the guy that accused Golddigger of cheating. So you'll notice that Golddigger switched over to premium rounds. The advantages obviously being greater penetration and the lesser known greater shell speed. On this tank particularly, your shell speed will increase. Let me just get the exact amount there. So your penetration is 62 on standard rounds with your damage of 60. Damage stays the same as 60, but your penetration goes up to 115. Then if we get to shell speed, the standard rounds will give you a shell speed of 775 meters per second, and the premium rounds will give you 969. So it's quite a difference when you're shooting at long distance to make sure that you can actually hit. And then obviously at this range you need the extra penetration to get through the Valentine, which is quite well armored for tier 4. The key to shooting the Valentine, obviously aim low on the sides. The armor is not as good when you're aiming low. Right, so that was the guy that accused him of aimbotting. I'm just going to rewind one more time so that we can slow down the replay and focus. Right, so I've slowed down the replay quite a bit. You'll see the gun reticle and the mouse reticle are exactly on the same spot. So this is, to my mind, not a case of an aimbot, this is a case of good aiming. Right, so going back to normal speed. And I'm actually going to increase the speed here because nothing happens for a bit. Okay, now we've got the Type 91 there. You'll see again, there's a gap between the gun reticle and the mouse reticle, but in this case it is clear to me that it's simply a case of the gun reticle catching up. I'm going to slow it down again a little bit. You'll see then when the mouse moves, the gun follows. So it may just be a slow turret traverse. On this tank particularly, the turret traverse speed, let me just find that, is just below 40 degrees per second. Right, so here we've got the Panzer 1C, which is quite a fast tank, running away. You see that was quite a good hit. You see the gun reticle is following the mouse reticle. So I believe that is quite legitimate. I'm going to speed up again because he does not catch the 1C. Alright, so here we've got the Cruiser 4. There you can clearly see the gun reticle slowly following the mouse reticle. Okay, so no issues there. On the Panzer 1C, that was just a little bit of an optimistic lead there. And that's another optimistic shot. Right, so back to half speed. See, that flies clean over the 1C. Normally you would see, in such an instance, because the 1C was moving, you would see some leading of the target happening according to the speed. But nothing like that happened here. Right, going up to a faster speed. And now 1C again, you'll see the gun reticle follows the mouse reticle. There was a bit of an anomaly there. You see the gun reticle is below the mouse reticle. I believe that's simply because of the undulations in the terrain. Where the terrain is aiming at is higher than the terrain where the gun is pointing. So it's simply a physics issue where you can't shoot through the terrain. So it obviously shows you where you're going to hit the terrain. And obviously not having his sound on the replay, I don't know when he was pressing the right mouse button, so I don't know when the gun was actually locked in place while it was moving. So the stationary gun is usually not an indicator of an aimbot, but the gun moving without the mouse moving, that is an indication. Right, so the 1C is going to come out there, so I'm slowing down to half speed again. See the gun following the mouse. That's missed, and again I would expect to see some leading of the target happening if there is actually an aimbot involved, where in this case the gun was simply following the mouse. So that seems legit. Speeding up again. Right, so you'll see there, let me just zoom in a little bit, that was a bit suspicious. Oh, sorry, that was just me using the free look. See, the gun reticle is exactly on the mouse reticle. And the slight mouse movement, slight gun movement. That was completely legitimate. There you see the gun is moving apart from the mouse, but that is probably a right mouse button, and this is simply a slow turret reverse. Right, back to normal speed, and back to half speed as he's aiming at the M8A1. So there you'll see the mouse moves and the gun follows. Mouse move, gun follows, so that's completely fine. That was just hoping that there was a bit of destructible terrain in between them, so he took a chance. Unfortunately didn't pay off. And you'll notice again he switched to APCR. I don't know if that was accidental or he's actually using the improved shell velocity on purpose. Right, so the M8A1 is eliminated, and I'm going to go to super speed here. So the friendlies have 2, now 3 tanks in cap, and the enemies only have 1. And that's going to cap out. So please let me know in the comments below what you think, whether that was a case of a slow turret traverse and good aiming, or this was suspicious and worthy of being reported. Just for interest's sake, I'm going to quickly have a look at the post-game stats. It was a high caliber. He did slightly over 1,000 damage, so it was enough for a tier 3 to gain a high caliber in a tier 4 game. The Bruiser, Fighter and Fire for Effect awards granted there. You'll see he was on top on experience, damage 1148, quite good, and 4 kills. However, he did dip into quite a lot of premium shells, and if he had not been running a premium account, he would have made a loss for this game. Although not a big loss, a 500 credit loss is acceptable for a good game like this. Thank you for watching, and as I've asked, please do leave a comment on whether you think this was suspicious or it was simply a case of a slow turret traverse and good aiming.